Good morning, welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be going over the 5 best mining farms that you can do right now. Now just stick around and enjoy the video. Okay, so today we're going to be going over the 5 best mining farms that are currently doing very well and are performing quite well overall. And that being said, let's just jump into number 1, which is the ELEMENTIUM ore farm. Now this one is located within Oldham, and this one is by far the best ELEMENTIUM ore farm that you can actually do in the game, and this is because this can also be paired with the herbalism farm of Whiptail. Now I generally do this as a multi-farm, but you can also do this as a mining farm, hence why it's at number 1 on this list. This can give you a lot of ELEMENTIUM ore as well as volatiles that you can actually get from those mining ore locations, and the key item of note from this actual particular farm is pyrite ore. Now generally for an hour's worth of farming you're going to get a lot of pyrite ore for an entire hour's worth of farming this, and you can pretty much get a decent chunk of gold overall. I tend to find that this is the most stable for myself in order to get a hold of a load of mats in order to make my vial of the sand stuff. So I generally do a lot of hours farming in Oldham, and this has never failed to disappoint when it comes towards pyrite ore by the end of my hour's worth of farming. As well as that, you also get a load of volatiles to actually increase your gold per hour as well, and ELEMENTIUM ore sells relatively fast as well, as it's used for a load of old world crafts. That being said, let's just jump into number 2, which is dark iron ore. Now dark iron ore is a tricky one to actually farm up. Now this one is located within the molten core. This is the best area in order to farm up dark iron ore, and this is the raid molten core. What you're going to be wanting to do is run into the actual instance, and you're going to run around the entirety of where the bosses are. You do not want to make contact or kill any of the bosses, because otherwise you won't get another chance in order to do this until the following week. But what you're going to be wanting to do is just by mining the nodes. The nodes are dotted around the entire of the molten core, and once you've done that, you can then go out of the actual raid and then reset and then go back in, and you'll have more ore in order to farm. This is why you do not kill any of the bosses, otherwise that will lock you to that instance and you won't be able to reset it. This is really helpful in the overall grand scheme of things, and I find that this is definitely one of the farms that you may want to do just moving forward. Failing that, you also can pick up some nice amount of gold by killing any of the molten destroyer mobs, which can be killed within this actual instance, and they can drop the blood of the mountain. I generally do this as well because I'm running around the area anyway, so it just is a nice little uptick as well. You can get more gold per hour just by doing that as well. So that is something you can do with that mining farm. Failing that, dark iron ore has a chance of dropping blood of the mountain as well, so this is definitely something I would highly recommend doing, because blood and mountain sells quite fast. It sells for a lot of gold, as well as dark iron ore, which is our main item of note for this actual farm, and that sells for a hell of a lot of gold, like a stupid amount of gold in the overall general gist of old world materials. That being said, let's just jump into our next one at number 3, which is the cobalt ore farm. Now this one is located within the Borean tundra, and what you're going to be wanting to do is fly around the edge of the actual zone. The thing of note that you're going to be wanting to do if you want the route, that is located in WorthIt under mining. So you just go to farming, go to mining, and then import the route. Remember, you have to have the route add-on in order to import the actual route into your map. That being said, cobalt ore seems to go for a lot of gold per hour, and that generally adds up to quite a hefty amount of gold in the grand scheme of things. That being said, I would actually recommend double checking your smelting prices, as cobalt ore and cobalt bars are very close in their sell rates. So if you are able to smelt those for a profit, as it's a 1-to-1 ratio, then I would highly recommend doing that, as it's used quite heavily in producing the mechanized chopper for its cobalt bolts, which requires you to have cobalt bars. So if you can make a profit on those bars, smelt them before you sell them and you'll make more gold. Coming in at number 4, and at no surprise, is my pride of joy and also my favorite farm for mining and probably my favourite farm in general is the Wintergrasp farm. Now this one is located within Wintergrasp, of course, and that one is for Saronite ore. What you're going to be wanting to do is following the route within WorthIt, as that is my favourite particular route, and what you're going to be wanting to do here is just by following that route for an entire hour. Key things of note that you actually be getting is a load of different types of crystallized and eternals, and that means you'll be able to sell those on for additional gold. As well as that, you also get your pride of joy, which is titanium ore, which you can always turn into titanium bars. However, I would actually recommend checking something with your alchemist by turning Saronite bars into titanium bars, as you could generally get away with actually proccing those as well with Transmutation Master. You can also get a decent chunk of gold if you're a little bit clever with your smelting to transmuting. You'll be able to do that quite well and then be able to get some additional procs to increase your gold per hour for your time spent. Other things of note that you may want to consider when actually doing this is do this on a druid. This is because a druid can dismount and remount within the air, and that is because as soon as a battle begins in Wintergrasp, you will be dismounted, and you'll get a 10-second warning when this is about to happen, and if you dismount, it will remove the debuff from you. So all you have to do is just dismount and remount, and you shouldn't have a problem, as that removes the buff, and then you can keep flying once you've remounted again. This is a lot harder with other different types of classes, but it is doable. It just means you have to zone it in and out of different areas within Wintergrasp in order to remount up to your flying mount. But overall, I would generally use a druid for this because it's just much more ease of life. That being said, let's just jump into our last and final one at number 5, which is the Fel Iron Ore Farm. Now this one is located within Terakar Forest within Outland, and what you're going to be wanting to do here is by going around the edge of the actual map, and this does not disappoint in the overall farming scene, as Fel Iron Ore sells for a hefty amount of gold. Once again, check your smelting when it comes to the end of your farm. See if you can sell those Fel Iron bars on for a decent chunk more. But overall, the thing of note is Fel Iron Ore as well as Corium Ore. Now, Corium Ore is one of those rare deposits that you can actually get from this farm, and it only spawns very, very infrequently, but it can go for a stupid amount of gold depending on your server. I would highly recommend double checking how much Corium Ore is going for you, because obviously we don't account for this in WorthIt as it's very infrequent. But what you can do is you can see if you get lucky, then you'll be able to see how much extra you'll be able to get per hour just by doing Corium Ore. The other side noted item which doesn't go for an awful lot of gold is Adamantite ore, which you'll get quite a lot of as well from this farm, as well as a load of gems that you also get with this. Adamantite ore sells quite fast, but it doesn't go for an awful lot of gold, as it's one of the most common ones, as it's one of the most common ores that you can get from this particular farm. So you're mainly getting your gold from your Fel Iron Ore as well as your Corium Ore if you are lucky from this. Aside from all of that, this is a very reliable farm. So that being said, that is the Fel Iron Ore Farm at number 5. Other than that, guys, that is pretty much everything I have to say for today's video. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and I shall see you in the next video, which will be soon.